And then, you know, POs come and they go, and Mercedes went, and somebody else came, Panos. You were the next one. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the invitation. It's a great honor for me being here, seeing so many familiar faces. I think we have spent a lot of time over the years together discussing and devising many research priorities for the European Commission, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to work with you. I have learned a lot through this whole process, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to be here and remember a little bit the good old times. I think one of the most important contributions of HiPEAC has been the help that you gave us in actually writing the work programs and the calls that we have produced in, let's say, the first decade of the 21st century. I remember with Koen and Mark and Matteo and all these people that Per, I see also in the room. And we have met many times discussing what would be the priorities for the calls, and these consultation meetings that we were calling back then, these were transformed actually to real calls from the European Commission. And one important thing is all the projects that came out of these calls where this community has participated, and I think there were many young people that had the opportunity to work in this consortia. We had also UK at the time, and I remember I was also the project officer of Milepost, and I see here people from Edinburgh. We had also the first project try to do servers with ARM. I see Emre is there. So this is a big history that is behind this community. It's HiPEAC, of course, but it's all these collaborations, all this dynamic that was brought to the European, let's say, computer science, computer engineering landscape that is, I think, the most important that we have. Now, I think we can spend a lot of time thinking of the past, but we need to think also about the future. I think what is important is HiPEAC has transformed the landscape in computer science and computer engineering in Europe, but also worldwide. It's a very well-known brand. But at the same time, computer science and computer engineering has transformed the world, actually. And this is something we don't really realize. So we should be grateful that we had the opportunity to work in this field. We have studied this field, and we understand what is going on, right? Even the technical side of that. And this is also a privilege, actually, right? All these changes that computer science and computer engineering has brought, and we see that it's still surprising us every day, right? And every day we are, I mean, this scientific field, let's say, is making the agenda worldwide. And I think the next 20 years would be the same level exciting, or even more exciting, because we have all this AI revolution that is coming up. And AI, the way that I see that is that it was the killer app for parallel computing, right? I mean, I think everybody realizes that, although nobody says that. Parallel computing was a lot of research, but there was no real killer app for that, if we use the terminology of today. So really the killer app was this neural network stuff that the LLMs are running. So you have thousands of small processors running like crazy, right? And you don't have a big, huge monolithic thing that is driving the whole computation. I think this is a change that is going to be there, and I think this is something that we need to be very proud also, the people that have worked in parallel computing in the past. I also think that now in Europe we are in a very critical situation. We need really to up our game. We need to really play on the first division. And I hope that all the Draghi report and all this visibility that is bringing to the necessity of new investments in the field will really happen. And we are going to be able to move forward with these big projects that we have, like DARE, where we see that we have 3 startups, actually, or 3 smaller companies participating together with BSc, trying to do RISC-V for high-end computing, accelerators, inference engines, stuff like that. I think this is one of the most exciting projects that we had in the last years, the European Commission. We had also the European Processor Initiative. All these things came out of HiPEAC, right? So it's not the network of excellence, it's all this dynamism that was brought to the European Union in this area. So one of the most important things is that we should not be complacent, right? I see a lot of things about top 500. It's easy to buy a top 500 machine, but we also need to understand that this is not a complete picture. I don't know how many of you are aware that the Chinese supercomputers are not in this list, right? This is something we should say that. So it's not a complete list. If you take into account the Chinese supercomputers, many of them, we don't have details about them because they don't publish that anymore. Actually, they have their own top 100 list somewhere. You can find that on the internet. Many of them would be at the top 20, right? So we need to keep an eye on that, and we need to understand that even if we are proud of what our supercomputers are making, we can discuss also the HiPEAC and what is the benchmark and all these type of things that we keep discussing over the last years. The situation is really in a critical point, and we really need to up our game in Europe. And this is something that also affects the European Commission, where I work, but also affects the member states. And I think we have all these recovery funds that are now being put in a good use. And I mean, I think the next 20 years will be something that will be probably passing to the next step from having the network, a more academic network of excellence. Now we're going to have really an industrial structure that reflects the importance of the European Union also in semiconductors, also in hardware design, and also in running infrastructure with this AI type of new supercomputer. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.